And hello, everybody. We are live with the 25.4 podcast.
Unrehearsed, hastily assembled program presenting inside opinions and forecasts on major issues of the day.
I'm Andrew Long, and joining me tonight live from what appears to be some sort of refugee center in San Francisco are Brandon, Tim, and Robert. Good evening, fellas.
Howdy.
Howdy do.
Hello.
And so I assume the tornado blew through last night and everybody hunkered down there for safety.
Yeah, we're all sleeping in about 3 inches of water. Sleeping bags are all soaking wet. Food's not so good.
Food's terrible as usual.
Yeah, food was bad.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah, the food was bad regardless of the weather conditions outside.
I don't think I've eaten anything here. The food would probably be better in a refugee camp.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you guys are lucky enough to be out at Build, and I guess you're somewhere in the Moscone Center, I guess.
Yes, we are in the dining hall. In fact,
in the back corner,
a couple session rooms behind us, and then if you walk out that direction, you're on the first floor, and you can go up two more stories, and they got all the vendor partner areas and all the cool Windows Insider stuff, and yeah, so it's a nice layout.
Yeah, we got to talk to our buddy Joe Belfiore.
We did
yesterday.
Yeah.
You really? Wow.
Personal.
Obviously, we've got a lot to cover, so why don't we get right into it?
With the arrogant grievances, I got a lot of problems with you people.
As always, we've got a lot of problems, and I'll just let you guys kick it off. Whoever wants to go, Ed, go for it.
Ladies first.
Y'all are about to exactly. Right as the police officer comes strolling by, I threatened one of my
there he is.
Exactly. Well, I don't have a lot of specific. I mean, we talked about the food. The food's not so hot. I'll kick it off with the general feeling about the keynote yesterday, and one of the tweets I let loose with, and right after it started, probably 10 minutes in, was, did I miss day one? Is this the day 2 keynote? Because it started off with the Azure stuff, which is very unusual for a Build conference to dive right into the enterprise stuff right off the get-go. That's usually stuff that is a day 2 talk.
As an Azure guy who loves Azure, it did not belong.
Yeah, it was a little odd. And it just didn't start. I didn't feel like it started the conference off with the same energy that the last 2 years I've been started off with. It was kind of, and there wasn't a ramp up and a build up. And, Meyerson was on stage at one point, and pretty much all the demos went well until they got to the big one, which was look at the Android apps running on a Windows phone. And then that demo didn't go so well, and that kind of screwed the flow up and the tone for the rest of the. Yeah. Until they got to the HoloLens stuff. And then when they got to the HoloLens stuff, obviously there was a lot of enthusiasm there for that, and that was well worth it. But it just didn't seem as exciting at the keynote for me.
Last year, first person that came out was Joe Belfiore, and 13 seconds he saw Cortana.
Yep.
And it was just all action the whole time. Right away. So this year did not start off at the same pace.
This year was data warehouses and data lakes.
Yeah, no, save that for Ignite. I love Azure, but that did not belong.
Yeah. I can kind of understand it to a certain degree. They've got a lot of stuff that's the timing of this conference in relationship to all the stuff they're working on was a little off. They didn't have as much to show off. The Windows Insider program has taken a lot of the Build thunder away to a degree. because we're all seeing those phone builds, we're all seeing those desktop builds, so they're and we're so close to RTM as well. There's probably a lot of stuff they're holding back that they're not going to announce until almost right up at RTM. So it's kind of a weird spot for them to be in, whereas last year they had a lot of finished stuff and they could show it off, and
it was ready to go.
It was ready to go.
I don't think we're seeing a new phone build for A while.
Yeah, that they talked to Gabe tweeted about that and said that it would be a while yet, but at least it's going to support the Icon in the 930. So Brandon will shut the fuck up about that. Yeah,
Hey,
finally.
TVMA.
Something else to bitch about though.
He's good at that.
True statement.
So what else, guys? I mean, I watched the keynote, so I got a sense of some of those things you're talking about. But how was really the energy in the room? I totally agree on the Azure part that it was, went on for way too long and was not very engaging at all to anybody.
Well, and that's exactly the way the energy in the room felt. I mean, you could almost hear snoring. I mean, it was really, really, and then Meyerson came out, and then they started in on Windows 10.
Oh, hold
everybody
on.
kind of woke up.
Meyerson,
Oh,
worst
Jesus.
presentation ever.
That guy had a
Did you watch that?
Was he
Did
drunk?
you see that?
I tweeted that I thought he was.
Honestly, I think it was almost like he was just afraid of Android and iOS or something. Like he was extra nervous. Go ahead.
Yeah, yeah,
It
I
was
mean-
just it was bad.
If you've given any presentations for a while, that is generally a sign that
Yes.
you're either unprepared or you know that we're out to shoot right with potential technical problems and isn't quite there yet. And it wasn't quite there yet.
My favorite from him. He had many stumbles, miswordings.
he nated that presentation.
He nated the presentation.
Hi, Nate.
He disappeared.
He walked away.
He said trivia crap instead of trivia crack as he was trying to promote them.
Rock and crap.
The whole crowd let loose laughing, and he's like, trivia crack. Like I said crack. Kind of like defensive.
Dragon
Yeah.
trap.
Drag and drop. There you go.
He had a lot of problems with first word letters yesterday.
He did. He
Oh
did.
boy.
But I mean, as far as the keynote goes for me, I was surprised that the room actually applauded to bringing Objective-C code into Visual Studio and Java, C++ code into Visual Studio. For me, it's a slap in the face. I just keep saying to Bobby, why is a C#.NET dev here? I mean, just tell me one thing they talked about in that keynote for a C#.NET dev. It wasn't. It was another year with another slap in the face for C#.NET devs. We're sorry, we have to make you second-class citizens because we need to do X, Y, Z. That's what this ended up being. All of the stuff that's new in the sessions isn't new. They're not announcing anything because they told us all of it over the last 12 months between TechEd and E3 and Ignite and all of these other conferences. They've blown their load already. So they didn't have anything to show us.
And
So that was my feeling.
Yeah, and I get why they're doing that and why they need to do that, I guess. But to me, it's all about the optics, I guess, of making that your big announcement there at your largest developer conference of Microsoft developers. Imagine at WWDC if Tim Cook came out and said, "Oh, guess what? Now Windows developers can port their apps to iOS."
Right.
I don't expect that would go over very well. And
Exactly.
That's basically what Microsoft did yesterday.
Well, they'd just be like, okay, so 5 apps are coming.
Yeah, we're assuming they might see that as some kind of threat. I don't know that that's accurate. Well, but one thing, I mean, we'll talk about the HoloLens thing a little bit later, I'm sure. But one
Yes.
thing I pointed out to Brandon was, yeah, we didn't get a lot of new stuff that is classic development that we're used to doing, but HoloLens uses Unity and it uses C#. And I see that, to me, that is the, hey, here's the big new thing you can do. The problem with that is it wasn't able to light it on. The Academy session they can't do that because they have to reformat PCs. They have to, I think the session we got into was an additional added one based off of the response they got yesterday.
Yeah.
So it wasn't, I think what was it, 2,000 people you said?
2,000 people applied
That's
to be
almost
part of
half.
this. That's 2/3 of Build, right?
Yeah.
It's 3,000 devs, isn't it?
5,000.
What was 5,000?
The session, yeah,
Yeah,
5,000
and-
registrations.
And
Yeah.
easily, these academies are probably maybe 300 tops.
No way. Yeah.
Are going to see it. So
Oh,
you know,
Yeah.
that's the issue, I think, in getting that message to developers is they're not able to actually see, hey, look at this. This is something you can actually use your skills with.
Yeah, we were kind of joking saying that, you know, Objective-C and Android development, that's so 2014. I'm writing holograms, bitch.
Yeah, exactly.
Anyway, Timmy, your thoughts?
Yeah, kind of. I'm very mixed about the iOS and Android stuff. It's positive for the platform. It's positive for many reasons. And honestly, an overall image I saw on Twitter was positivity. And I can understand the positivity part of it. The downside is, you know, we love Microsoft, .NET. Where does .NET fall in? And I have no interest in writing Objective-C.
Right.
I have no interest in learning that. I have no interest in learning a lot of those things. So what's the upsell? Because an iOS app, they can take an existing iOS app, convert it, run it through Visual Studio, and it is a full end-to-end universal app.
Yeah.
It's not just
Plus-
phone. It's
Plus, you get to hit iOS with it,
and yes.
right?
So I imagine there's a larger story coming months ahead to go the other direction, at least with Android. I expected to see that direction today, which we didn't get to. I would guess it's complicated with iOS maybe, but I'm definitely expecting to see the other direction. It's just shitty that we didn't get it first.
Well, I'm a little wary of the other direction because of the support and buy-in that they've gotten with Xamarin, making Miguel the head of the .NET Foundation, and Xamarin this and Xamarin that and Xamarin everywhere. If Microsoft turns around and goes the other direction, they're burning that bridge.
If there's one thing that is completely missing from Build this year that was there last year, it's Xamarin.
That's true. There's
Xamarin's
like one
name
Xamarin session, right?
Is not anywhere. I think Miguel had one session, and James Montemego was part of 2 sessions.
Yep.
And that's tomorrow
That's on
when
Friday,
people are
yeah.
not here.
Yeah, that's the day people go home.
So
You know, one interesting, I was talking to my husband, Greg, last night, who, full disclosure, Esteban, who is an Apple employee. And we were talking about, he thought it was kind of cool that you could take an Xcode project and compile it down into a universal app and run it. And a thought that occurred to me was, where do all apps generally start? They generally start on iOS. And an iOS app will compile down and, like you said, become a full universal app.
Yep.
Now, if you you don't have to change any code.
yeah,
As far as I know, unless you want to plug into the native live tiles notifications and things like that, you're going to have to make some adjustments to that code,
and that's some new stuff.
and that's fine. But if I'm an iOS developer and I can target iOS and I can or a Windows Phone developer and I can target iOS and then very easily target Windows Phone as a universal app to run on those billion devices that Microsoft is talking about, suddenly I start thinking, well, where's the incentive for you to go rewrite that app from the ground up, which you have to do
For
to
Android.
run on Android?
Now, keep in mind,
What does that do to the dynamic
the other
of the
thing-
app store?
The other thing too I can see though is people who do this, the people who actually are going to take advantage of this, taking their Xcode and bringing it over, their Java and C++ and bringing it over. That's all they're going to do. So we're going to end up with a bunch of half-ass apps that, yeah, we got them from iOS, but that back button ain't going to do shit. Fast resume ain't going to be
it does
happy.
though.
It does.
They demoed.
But live tiles, notifications, like all app contracts,
It's up-
the share to, all that stuff, none of that stuff's going to be there.
I think it does.
Well, and I did see a little snippet of the Android thing, and all you got to do is replace one line of code, and the share, it natively knows the Android share button. It knows to use the share contract when it's on Windows Phone, and they didn't have to make a code change to make that work. That or the back button.
Back button navigation. There's a whole new realm of app-to-app services and communications, and I know those are supposed to just work.
Yeah.
App-to-app.
Well, that would be
There's-
positive. For
I
the
know
platform.
there's a session tomorrow specifically about app-to-app communication, and I would be shocked if he did not mention iOS and Android in that conversation.
So here's something to think about. So Microsoft released the new Office, right, on iPad, and they probably wrote all that in Objective-C, right?
No. So I mistakenly jumped into a C++ session for about 30 seconds.
Because who does that other than Rob Irving? Who does that intentionally?
Yeah, he was in that session.
Yeah,
He was in that session.
I'm not surprised. I
No, it was
expected him
a
to be.
cross-platform dev session, and another one was full. So I walk in there, and I just happened to catch a message when they said the Office apps are 90% C++ shared code across each of the 3 platforms. So
Really?
then 90%, which is incredibly intriguing to understand how they build UI like that.
Right.
Natively. So yeah, it's maybe it's just C++, but the whole idea of the session was cross-platform development with C++. So
Oh, that's pretty nuts.
So, Andy, what's your grievance?
Yeah, what's yours, Andy?
I kind of have a feeling I know what it might be, but I want to hear you say it.
Well, I kind of already talked about it with the whole optics of the Android and iOS to Windows thing.
Oh, I thought you were going to say because you're not here and we are.
My only other grievance would be that I'm not actually there. But really,
Well-
I'm not so with what they're giving away this year, and
Oh, no, yeah, I was going to say, you're not missing the swag at all.
not all that not quite as upset as I was yesterday morning.
Yeah, you're not missing the swag at all. It's an i5 128 gig SSD with 8 gigs of RAM.
and it's a very awkward tablet,
Yeah.
like folded into a tablet. It's got this weird bezel. It doesn't lay
Super hard
flat.
edges.
The keyboard, when you fold it over upside down, the keyboard is not immediately disabled.
Oh,
So
really?
expect to open all of the things.
Nice. Yeah, I mean, what that was striking to me was they say, well, we're going to give you something to the powerhouse to get all these apps written and do all this, and then you go read the specs on what they gave you, and that's kind of like, really?
They
Can't
definitely
install Windows and Visual Studio and say SQL Server on there. I don't think.
Well, and the Android emulators, because you're doing cross-platform, right? So
Oh.
throw the Android emulators in the
Yeah,
mix.
the Android SDK.
Couple Hyper-V Windows Phone emulators to chew up a little that last remaining couple of gigs that you got on the hard drive, and you're done.
Yeah,
they did blue balls us on the HoloLens though.
God!
At the end of the keynote, they played a video, and then he finished talking. It's like, you need to get this into your hands. We need to get in your hands. You need to build for it. You need to see it. You need to experience it for yourself. Like, yeah, you're just lifting me up with and then you walk away. Like, and we're done.
And then he goes, "We've got hundreds of them here." And
I'm
everybody
like-
kind of went, "That's the wrong
I'm like,
magnitude. That's
you
the
mean-
wrong order of
Do you
magnitude.
mean hundreds of hundreds?
You mean hundreds times tens, right?"
But I mean, after the session today, I think we're pretty much all in agreement that we can understand why we didn't get one.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
not that they don't work; they work, but
It's
this is an iterative design process, and we definitely had prototype hardware.
it's. I think we all kind of said it's at least 6 months out. 6 months of more. 6 months of R&D.
Why don't we get into that a little bit? Why don't you guys talk about the Academy?
Sure. Should we? I mean, I think that would probably be our affirmation.
L
Yeah.
to the yeah.
Yeah,
So we can start that section if you want to.
I heard from
Oh,
Carl
He's got to
Schweitzer.
play. He's got to play the ditty.
Oh.
Oh yeah,
Because I'm good enough, I'm smart enough, and doggone it, people like me.
and people like HoloLens.
Yeah, they do.
Yes, they do. Yeah.
Three of us definitely do.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I was talking to Carl Schweitzer a little bit a while ago, and he mentioned that the entire HoloLens team, all of them, every last one
Here?
of them are here.
Absolutely.
All of them are.
This is
and-
all about feedback.
Yeah,
today.
and this,
week.
I would say that Build was about Universal Apps, but it was every bit about HoloLens as well. In general, I just, like I said earlier, it was really hard for me to come up with words to describe how awesome that experience was. I'm not a game developer. I've never had any interest. I've actively shied away from
Yes.
doing any game development.
100%.
And when I walked out of there, I wanted to start writing holographic games. I was just not having hardware and being able to do it right now. I actually worry about some of that momentum dying down and me kind of losing a little bit of interest between now and when we actually can get hardware.
So to start it off, we went through the same press process We got lockers. We dropped our phones, all electronics, everything. We did get these pretty.
Oh yeah, he's got a sweatshirt on.
Yeah,
so
we got some rockin'
We
sweatshirts,
got some
pullover,
sunglasses are in.
hoodies.
So we have a, if you can see, a pretty sweet
Yeah.
HoloLens Academy badge.
Did you show him the one side
I've got-
with the little
Got
instrument?
a hoodie here with the top of a HoloLens, and then the side Microsoft HoloLens. I mean, killer. It's a nice hoodie, and they gave it to you because it's cold in there.
And it was.
We walked into the room and it was rolling with fog. No, it wasn't rolling.
No, you felt the breeze,
But
when
it
they
was
opened
cold. It was
opened the
cold.
doors.
They, as you're standing in line, they did a measurement of the distance between your pupils, and you had to punch that in to the HoloLens configuration portal when you plug the HoloLens into the computer. You had to put that number into the portal so the HoloLens knew how far apart your pupils were.
Yeah,
So
and
which-
that's browser based too. You pop
So
in
far,
so far you pop in an IP address, and with it connected by USB, and it brings you to a configuration screen that resides on the device.
Wireless, they'll run wireless.
Yeah.
wirelessly.
They just
I think he was coming up with an excuse to keep plugged in because
battery life.
Yeah,
Holy shit! I think we would get
3?
no with an hour.
Really?
If we so the last experience, which we'll talk about, the most immersive experience, simulation essentially is there. That thing will chunk away that battery. Honestly, I think we would get maybe on an hour at best.
Yeah.
yeah.
discharges
I think
quickly.
that's reasonable because they did take pretty much every opportunity to plug it.
He took it from my hands and plugged it in for me. It's like, dude, I know how to plug in a USB cable.
Yeah.
It's okay. No, he made sure that thing got plugged in
And
right
when
away.
they put it in, they hit the high button to put it on standby while it was plugged
Did?
in.
I missed that.
Yep.
So the simulations I had through, we sat. It was a wide room. Everybody got paired up. So it was 2 developers with a buddy, with a HoloLens buddy. And,
Mentor. They call
There
them.
you go.
Yeah, mentor.
And they kind of guided you through the tutorial. So on our workstations immediately, we had Unity, Visual Studio, guides and everything. So we started off with kind of a sample project, and copy paste code out of Visual Studio, out of a Word document.
Yeah.
But honestly, the code samples were very simple.
Yeah. So we didn't waste.
It was very simple.
Code was really straightforward.
And when you put the 5 simple samples together, you really started to come up with something where I can click on it, it'll do something, it'll play a sound, it'll roll across the floor.
Respond to voice.
Yeah.
I mean, there were different stages, so you had to set this up progressively. One of the first things that they taught us how to do was how we actually start the app, and then create a project in Unity, and how we add scripts and the different things that somebody who's not a game developer might not be familiar with.
Now, of course, all visual assets were pre-built.
Yes.
Correct. Yep.
Yes, they did pre-build the visual assets. They got, I think, most of those from the actual Unity store. But then we went progressively through each step, and I think the first step, well, I can't remember the names of all the different headings, but there was adding voice, being able to add a voice to a sphere,
gaze.
to a command. Yeah,
So
gaze.
it was
I love-
gaze, gesture, and voice were the 3 interaction model. Gaze,
Okay.
gesture, and voice.
Yeah. So you basically you had to be able to point the HoloLens at a particular fixed location, and when you did your build and deployed the app, wherever it was pointed, that's where your hologram started. And then progressively you started doing things like adding the spheres, and it was a notebook table with 2 kind of origami ramps and 2 spheres hovering over each one of the ramps. And as you went, you could make it do different things. Eventually, we added voice to where you could use the device and focus a cursor on the one of the spheres and say the command, drop it. Or you could customize the command. You could say drop all the balls, however you wanted to do it, and it would respond to
Let
that
the
command.
balls drop.
Let the balls drop. And one of the origami, whatever you had the cursor on. And that was another thing we had to do. We actually had to create the cursor, and then we had to give it the smarts to be able to move and adjust and kind of flow around whatever object it happened to be attached to. But then, you know, once
Clearly, Andrew Long is above hologram.
yeah.
The neighbors started cutting their grass, so I got to close the windows in the office. I don't know if you could hear that or not.
But then we, after we did the gesture and we did the cursor, then we did the voice commands, and then the sound was really fantastic.
One line of code.
Yeah.
You take a wave file, you write one line of code. It's called spatial sound. You can attach the wave file to an object, and then when you turn your head,
So there's
to the right.
in the headset.
It's ridiculous.
There's little speakers that are, you know, just above your ear. Audio is done so well that it doesn't sound like you're wearing headphones or have a speaker.
sound.
It sounded like they were speakers,
Yeah.
surround sound in the entire room.
So
it was
if you look at a picture of the HoloLens, those red things on the side, those are the speakers. Those little red deals, that speaker. It's ridiculous.
It was very awkward and weird at first because it sounded like my audio was playing too loud. Like you could
Can you hear it?
Yes.
Yeah,
It was-
did they show you the volume key on the right side?
Yep.
Oh, no.
Yeah, there were little volume nodules, and you could turn the ambient sound up and
And
down.
there's also another one that controls brightness.
Yeah.
On the other side.
Yeah, well, my mentor told me left side for the volume, and they're fussing with it. I'm like, why is it
Don't touch
getting
that.
brighter? No, that's not the right one.
You're gonna use the battery up.
Yeah, exactly. I made it too bright. That might be why mine actually died. The last appointment we did for the grand finale, my own, but I couldn't see my hologram. I actually had to swap it out for me, and I'm assuming that was a battery life issue.
So the thing with the sound that blew my mind was I took my little notebook deal and we had some background music, and I set my notebook on the floor. And I shit you not, it sounded like the sound was coming from below me as I'm walking around. And that part has blown my mind about the sound.
You could hear the ambient sound, and if you had the hologram right in front of you, it looked like the sound was coming. But if you turned your head and literally walked away, the further away you got, the quieter the volume got. And it was totally aware of the altitude. You know, if you had the hologram over your head, the sound was coming up top, and if it was down below, it was coming bottom.
So in the beginning samples, Brandon said they kind of aim it for you when you deploy the application to it, so that it'll render over there.
Yeah.
Later on, was it buddy mentor?
Yeah.
He left it on the table while I deployed, and then you just put it on. You hear where your little waterfall is, and you turn around and you go find it.
There it was.
Yeah.
But
Go ahead.
the hard thing about it was the viewfinder though was
Yeah.
only like a rectangle that covered like right here.
Yeah, I mean, if you could picture in front of your eyes like a 4x4 square, that's about what I can equate it to. I mean, it was tunnel vision, and that was the most disappointing part.
So without the audio, that was very limiting. And once we got the audio in there, so do you hear that? Apparently the event crew is just playing around with plastic right now, like popping bubbles.
Cool. Well, that would go well with the neighbors cutting the grass.
Well, we need to cover the grand finale.
Who wants to start?
I will.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So-
Start.
The grand finale was, Brandon said we had this little notebook that had little origami pieces and everything. So when you click on one of the balls, it would roll down, and instead of just rolling off the table and rolling around the ground, it exploded the notebook. And just like they showed in one of the Minecraft demos, where you could basically walk up to the floor and you could look and see a whole world inside. Super cool. So you could kind of lean around and see the depth of it. So then my mentor goes, go put it up high. So I find somebody, and I can, because at that point we could click it and relocate it,
Move it
put
around.
it wherever we want.
Yeah.
So I put it on somebody's head, and then eventually I got it on the ceiling. And once you clicked on the ball, it rolled down. The notepad would blow up.
But now you're underneath
And
the
suddenly you're inside of the underworld, and you are 100% surrounded.
Red origami birds flying around. It was
It
I was like
it was-
standing on an origami cloud. It
You
was
were
like this blue
inside of
river.
like a Mario origami
Yeah.
world.
It's like Paper
It was-
Mario. You're in Paper Mario.
It was amazing. It
So
was
does that actually feel? Do you feel immersed at that point?
Yeah. now.
Yeah. Even with the
the small
screen
screen,
limitation,
yeah.
I still felt like, yes, I could see the outside world on the sides and the top and bottom, but I was so enthralled with what I could
your
see,
brain
I didn't even
completely-
notice it.
Your brain just completely filters it out. I mean,
So-
at one point, and I haven't told you guys this, at one point I put mine up top, and I dropped the ball. This is before we had the Underground World explosion. The ball hits the notepad, rolls off the notepad, landed on the floor, rolled across the floor, and I kicked it with my foot. I literally thought I was going to kick this ball with my foot.
And the reason is, I would like that to be better, but what happens if it could keep up, it detects that your foot's there.
Right.
Suddenly, an object just pops up in the world, and if the ball's laying there, it just lifts it up and it shoots it across the floor.
Yeah, one of the things that you have to add to a project is the spatial detection. And basically what that does is it makes
Which was drag and drop.
Yeah, it was. You just literally drag it up to your hologram camera, and it just worked.
I
But
love
I'm
the
assuming
that
that was a
saying like one line of code and drag and drop. That's all right.
It was
well, now keep in mind though that this was
Pre-built.
some of this stuff was pre-built,
Lots of
like the
pre-built.
spatial mapping object that was pre-built.
No,
and
that comes with the toolkit.
does it?
That was part of a hollow toolkit.
I think
Well.
that one was part of the tool.
Okay.
Yeah, but there's a lot of
Well,
other stuff.
anyway, what that does is it makes the HoloLens aware of the environment. So that's how it is able to map and recognize objects. So that's how
Because
you're
before
able to
that-
put the
Yeah.
hologram on top of someone's head, because it becomes aware of that person standing there.
Because before that, it's only aware of the actual hologram. So the
Right.
ball would roll onto the notepad and then roll down to the center of the earth.
And
You could watch it fall.
You could watch it go
all the way down.
all the way down to China.
Yeah,
It was
yeah,
pretty cool.
it was very neat.
So that by far highlight of there's nothing we're gonna do is gonna beat that unless
Nope.
I get super
Unless they
wasted.
hand us one to walk away with.
That's true.
So the devices that you guys used, were they did they look like the ones that they show, on
Same
stage?
thing on stage.
Yeah.
Yep.
Same
Yeah, and
exact device.
you couldn't have looked at that device and been able to tell that it was not ready to roll off retail shelves.
That thing looked like it came out of the
It's-
out at
Yeah,
Walmart.
it's very
Okay, maybe not Walmart.
not Walmart.
I was making a Jesus, I got nailed for that. Out of the box at Best Buy. Is that
There
better?
you go, that's
Any
better.
Okay,
How about the Microsoft
How about
store?
yeah.
Microsoft Store? I was trying to make it more
The
relatable.
Walmart, come on.
Relatable.
So are the SDKs and stuff available for that right now?
No.
What's the deal?
No, but the best thing to do if you want to do anything related to it is just get your
Unity.
hands on Unity a little
Start playing
bit
with Unity.
and
Yeah.
get used to creating things and just that
Yeah,
environment.
start learning Unity now. And in 6 months, when you've got it pretty well down, you're going to be in a really good position to start actually writing holographic apps.
Yeah, it was amazing.
Is that for any kind of app? Because like on the keynote yesterday, they showed Skype and I think like a Twitter or
We did
something.
No, you can take a universal Windows app and you can deploy it to your HoloLens.
Okay, that's what I thought. Any app, any universal.
AppX. Yeah, it's an AppX deployment.
Yep.
And you'll have to make some adjustments to it in Unity for things like the screen and the controls and things like that in order to make it work
Yeah.
properly. But
We didn't get
yeah,
to see any of that.
No.
Yeah.
So no, we only got to play with the demo app. So no Minecraft, none of the
Yeah,
things
we
they've shown
just
in the
played
past.
with objects, just some objects
But
to
it
get
was-
the idea.
it was
But it was
awesome.
pretty freaking sweet.
I mean,
Yeah.
we saw what they wanted us to see.
Right.
Right, right.
But-
I mean,
Skype.
simple- I'll get one if I can get guys such that fit my 7-year-old. I would just really quickly fab up a rubber ball, throw it around, and he wouldn't be anything.
Yeah.
And he would love it. He would think it's the coolest thing in the world. Rubber ball screen in his fingers, he can throw against the wall and it would bounce around. Or it'd trip over the, his little brother kick it, or whatever, all that stuff. It's super cool.
You definitely get the sense that Microsoft is all in on this as a
Oh, yeah.
business proposition.
Oh, yeah,
they are
absolutely.
not away
Industry,
from this.
for industry, this thing is going to be a game changer for all the reasons they showed in the keynote. No joke, this is going to be a game changer.
Somebody asked in one of the insider Q&A sessions yesterday about pricing, and his only response was affordable. So we'll see what that is.
I think that if it's over, then it's a mistake. It's not going to go.
I don't call that affordable.
If it's
now.
a-
I would say if it's over 1,000, I think if they hit $500, it will. There's no way they'll keep it in stock.
No, and I don't think they will. I think it'll come around like 750.
Yeah, I think it'll be. I think it'll be 1,000. That's I think most people's at least a developer's definition of affordable.
When you
Yeah.
can you consider that the band is $200, and this is a fully untethered PC that has three
Yeah, that's
that has
the key.
3 processing units in it. you you gotta realize. I can't say this needs to be $400. Well, that's 2 Microsoft bands. Okay, that's just not. That doesn't make any sense, right? But I think if they go 1,500 or 1,800,
Oh no,
No, you're not looking. I don't think you're looking anywhere near Google Glass pricing.
no,
Yeah,
it
I
won't
would.
hit $1,000.
I'm my personal. I think it's going to be. I think that's going to be the sweet spot.
and I think that I really think they make it by holidays this year.
Oh yeah.
With
That-
the pace
that
that they've
unit
taken
was-
it already.
That unit was pretty awesome. There's a lot of software that needs to come along in the next 6 months, which
Yep.
will then.
Yep.
Pretty sure those will be close to production ready units, though. I mean,
Yeah.
the entire shell of the device will probably production.
Yeah.
I don't know what they
I
could
think
do internally to make
The
it
problem
better.
areas I saw were the battery and the field of vision display. And so you have the outer HoloLens framework, but inside that, for the band that has a wheel on the
That could
back
be better.
that's adjustable. And I had a lot of problems that automatically lose the setting. Like I'd put it back on and
I
then
thought I
I'd
broke
try.
mine.
I'd try to make
thought
a
I broke
small
mine.
adjustment to it. And I inadvertently
Well, then you could.
expand and I could hear it clicking, and then I've got to go back and tighten it back up again and readjust it. So they got some. I think they have some work to do there.
At one point, you can take the visor and you can pull that out
Yes.
as you adjust it. I pulled mine out, and apparently I had already pulled it out as far as it would go. So I pulled a little harder, and the whole like clipping mechanism in the back to adjust the other band just went, "Arr!" And I was like, "Oh shit!"
It just
Yeah.
unclicked, yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, there's some work to do there, but they'll get it. They'll get it.
Every single time I took mine off, it pulled my hair.
Oh yeah.
Did you have that happen
I didn't
at
have that
all?
problem.
Because I think it was kind of right near the speaker. Something every time I'd pull it off, it would just yank onto my hair and pull it right up.
Brandon Bray, he goes, if you break your HoloLens, your academy will end at that point.
Your academy will probably
Your
end.
experience will end at that point, is what he said. You will be
They're-
ushered out.
They're not going to trust you and give you another one. Sorry. But,
So yeah, it's
It was epic.
exciting.
It was pretty awesome. It's pretty awesome. But yeah, like Robert, same sentiments here. Like I've never thought about game dev. I've stayed away from game dev. I just don't know enough about game dev. But
Well,
this thing made it really damn compelling.
the problem with it is, like, I have to come up with characters in a world in a game. That's not the type of stuff that I want to do. But being
Right.
able to take apps and create cool little objects for my app and stuff that you can interact with.
Or your
and
downstairs
do and-
environment becomes Skype sits over here.
Yeah,
yeah,
Email sits
absolutely.
over there while I'm watching TV. That's not bad.
with mine, we've got an entire library of 3D objects
Oh my gosh.
that are used
Oh, wow.
to build data center racks. I don't know how much trouble
Oh.
goes into assets, but I'm already thinking in terms of having our technical specialists at work, instead of sitting there with Visio creating diagrams,
Walk
spending
into the
hours doing it, just putting on a HoloLens and just dragging stuff up to the rack and building it right there, and then sending the damn thing to
That'd be
you know,
pretty
it's yes, the fun gaming stuff is cool, but I can think of a lot of applications.
Well, that's
where
why I
you
say
could use
like
that in the enterprise.
industry is what is gonna.
So the one thing
that's gonna be awesome.
we didn't get to see is these units were somehow prefabbed for developer test, like developer, what you might call testing, or like there's no screen, none of that type of stuff we saw. It was you plug it in over USB, you deploy it, and the app runs. You didn't get anything else.
Right.
No
Yeah.
OS deployed.
What
to
does
it,
what
kinda.
does Windows look like on the
Uh-huh.
HoloLens? Like
Yeah.
we didn't really get to see. Okay, this thing is running Windows according to Kitman, right?
Well,
Windows.
they've
What does it
demoed
look
it.
like? What does it look like?
They've shown demos of that, but I don't think those units have that on there.
And it would have
yet.
been cool. I think it would have been super cool to the studio.
Yeah.
That would have been cool to see. But we didn't.
To see
Exciting though.
Yeah.
HoloLens, is that what you said?
No, Hollow Studio.
Oh.
That thing when they announced it and she was building that quadcopter in
Oh,
midair.
Right, right.
Sending things to 3D printers.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome stuff. Speaking of 3D printers, upstairs there's they've got a Connect setup with some lighting around it, and then a little round turntable that you stand on, and they just turn you stand there still, and with the Connect they're taking a 3D model of you. So they give you a little USB stick with your whole 3D model, little README, so you can download Microsoft's 3D modeling app to go look at it, or you can it's a full 3D model, so submit it to the 3D printing sites and get that thing printed. So I think I'll get one for my wife.
You ever wanted to play with yourself?
We could sell
You
that.
can.
Could sell what?
Let our fans buy a little 3D Timmy.
We should all get it
shall,
done.
yeah.
I'll get it. Sorry, Andrew.
We still have time. They're still running.
Download Unity and start building one of yourself. I don't know.
It'll be like,
Unity
here's
costs.
distinctly Bobby, distinctly Brandon, distinctly Tim, and this blob is Andrew tried to make it.
He's gonna go grab a golf club.
No,
Answer the phone.
Pick it up. I love that.
God,
I love-
America.
Look, they're persistent. That's a persistent little call.
I had a friend's dad who
He should pick it up and go, "Hello, caller."
tried explicitly anytime the phone rang, now he just hang it up. Pick up, hang up. Pick up, hang up. Like, okay, apparently you don't answer a phone.
I turned the ringer off.
Well,
It kept ringing. So what?
40
else?
minutes in.
What else? What else you guys got?
That's
Well, I'm gonna have lunch all tomorrow. That's gonna be cool.
we're gonna go see the Avengers tonight.
Yeah, we're probably gonna go see the Avengers tonight.
What?
He's going
you guys
to
having a
Mr.
party
Tech.
tonight?
No, I'm
Pretty
actually
much.
gonna go tonight.
I mean,
Oh,
last night
that's
we
right.
went to the. Did I do it right that time?
You did.
Yeah.
We had to teach Brandon how to say Telerik this week.
How did you?
He morphed.
What? What did you
He
say?
used to say Telerik, and then he went from Telerik to Telerik, and he didn't understand what he was doing wrong. And Nate and I finally, he actually got mad yesterday because he couldn't figure out what he's doing.
I blame it on the fact that I'm rooming with Frenchie while I'm out here.
Oh.
So that's what I'm blaming it on.
He is a
So Frenchie,
Ball fight.
first morning I wake up, get done with my shower, I get my hair gel out. It's a
Tell,
tub. It's
tell
a tub.
everybody who Frenchie is.
Frenchie is Sebastian Lachance,
We
Archie
have
Coder.
listened.
So, so I get my tub of hair gel out and I take it out of my backpack. You know, I'm getting ready to put my hair gel. And I open it up and peeks up from his bed. He's still in bed, half naked in bed, and he goes, "Is it KY?"
He's a character.
Thankfully, no. Thankfully, no.
Oh boy!
I wish you'd stop by.
You must be nearby. You guys keep looking over to your left.
No, I'm
No,
looking to
it's
see.
Nate's right over here.
Oh.
Nate should come over and make a guess.
A session
don't
got
see-
out,
Yeah,
and they're
big
right
session
before
just got
another
out.
session over here. So I'm just keeping an eye out.
Yeah, Nate's gonna be us right now.
Main author of the Handy Pantry.
Andrew.
Hi, Nate.
And
All right.
listeners.
Get out of the shot now.
Yeah, get out of here.
That's enough.
Screwing up my lighting. Get out of here.
He does talk coherently, regardless of what you might see him type on Twitter.
If you follow him on Twitter, he talks differently than he tweets.
He's just like Terry Myerson was yesterday.
He said Terry Myerson was talking like Nate types.
Except he can't edit.
Yeah,
He
Jerry
can
couldn't
edit.
edit himself, unfortunately.
Drag and drop.
I feel
trivia
sorry for
Yeah,
Jerry.
no.
That was, I mean, that's when you're up in front of that many
It's a lot
people,
of pressure.
and you can tell who are the naturally gifted public speakers and who are not.
Belfiore.
And Belfiore is like, you know, you could give him any topic and he could just. I mean, yesterday during one of the Windows Insider sessions where they had Gabe answering questions from a smallish kind of group of people, Joe stopped by and went up on stage, and you know, people would ask him, and it's just the most natural thing in the world for him to do public speaking, whereas you know, Terry Myerson is just, you know, that's just not his bag. You know what? That's okay.
That's how I am. Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
not a.
We all got selfies with Gabe.
I didn't.
Oh, you
I'm
didn't?
not part of the selfie.
Sorry. Well, I am.
I mean, you really are.
I have a selfie with Gabe.
I mean,
We were walking over to the inside booth, and I was like, "That's Gabe right there." He's micing up. I was like, "That's Gabe right there," and he heard me say it, and he goes, "Yes, yes." He's trying to turn around as they're micing him up, and then finally he got turned around. And
I actually went to a session mistakenly. Guess that was my lesson.
he knew Mr. Cheeky Taurus over here. He was like, "You're Cheeky Taurus," and shook his hand and everything.
It
Nice.
all makes sense.
Oh, you really are gay in real life.
You don't just play one.
You don't play one on TV. It's real. It's real. No, that was a good experience. And you know, one of the questions that I asked Joe was, so what is the app story? So what is this iOS thing? You know, is it market share? And I think his take, which was not a take I had heard before, was that there's just a lot of friction for, say, a company like Twitter to maintain an iOS app, an Android app, and a Windows Phone app. It's easier to do iOS and Android, and Windows Phone has got such a different paradigm.
And that's also the reason why Panorama, Pivot, App Bar, all those things are kind of going the way of the dinosaur in favor of Hamburger Menu, which is everywhere else, so that they don't have to rethink their entire design as well as having to recode it.
Yeah.
So they're kind of, you know, succumbing to the pressure.
Yeah, the thinking behind it is to reduce the cost of entry to writing a Windows Phone app to almost nothing in terms of resources.
I'm looking for Rudy Wynn, because if I see him, I'm going to drag him over. And finally, so Randy Wynn, so we can finally get him on the podcast, since we keep running out of time. If I can quick grab him.
He's been invited.
Yeah.
Yeah, Rudy, if you're watching live, hey, we're down by 1A.
If
Come by if you're watching.
Yeah.
he's our one
Might be Rudy Wynn.
One viewer, right? There you go. There you go.
one viewer, you on the other laptop.
No, so it's not me. It's an actual viewer. So it's also not Nate, right?
Also
No,
not Nate. So
not
hey, and it's not French to you.
Oh, it's Paul Dale. That's who it is.
Oh, okay. Hi, Paul.
Well,
Good stuff.
What you got, Andrew? Anything else?
No,
I'm
I
spent.
You guys suck too much.
No, we've got next sessions are at 5, I think.
15, and
5:30 for the Mary Jo.
we're having a good
tweet up.
time. So
Yeah, you
Wish
guys
you were here.
The tweet up tonight or
again,
what?
say that again.
Oh, are you guys going to the Mary Jo Foley tweet up thingy?
I don't know.
I don't know.
I think we're all kind of like, maybe not. We'll see.
It's just been. I've been here since Sunday night. It's been a long week. Just going out every single night. It adds up.
Yeah.
I like the idea of a nice, relaxing movie tonight.
Night?
Where alcohol is not served.
I kind of wanted to watch a movie last night.
What the fuck is wrong with you?
Kind of wanted to watch a movie when I got back to the room last night, snoring your ass off at 11 o'clock.
Sorry. I was sleeping.
Hashtag rooming with the old guy. Hanging with Mr. Cooper.
Hey, I went out with you guys the night before, and I had 4 glasses of wine. And I paid for it.
You should have seen him the next morning. Holy shit.
It's like he was on a 21-year-old bender.
Yeah.
Seriously.
And that was hours. And it still screwed me. The last
God.
night I wasn't having any alcohol.
Yeah, that was bad business.
All
Well,
right,
gentlemen,
we can wrap
Yeah,
this.
I think
Get to
Big-
next
big
session.
20th episode in the bag.
there's a Project Astoria, which is the Android apps on Windows session at 5 o'clock, right there,
We might want to grab
right
it.
behind us.
Yeah, because I have a whole suite of Android apps I want to. Was that?
So that'll be interesting to see how many people show up to that one.
Yeah, right?
it will be.
It's
It'd
in
be awesome
Project
if there was like 3.
a lot. It's in 1B. It's the big hall room. The whole bunch of people filed in it. They are. Can you hear this stupid ass plastic?
Yeah, I hear it. Yeah, I do.
Mother dick. They've been doing this for the last 20 minutes.
Tim's fixing to smack a bitch.
God.
Wow.
I don't know what they're doing.
Alrighty.
All right, guys.
I
Well,
gotta take a look.
for joining us. Enjoy the rest of the conference. Stay safe.
Back
Right.
next week.
We
Yeah,
will.
let's do it again next week.
We're losing it.
Yeah, we're
ya.
losing your connection.
All right.
Bye.
See you guys.
Later,
All right.
Gator.
Later, dude.
Bye.
Peace out, Girl Scout.